in, third partying in exactly this case and scenario right here.
GokuBot for 7th Element has stayed on the mainland. The rest of the team have gone south of the river, out of the gap of water there. Over the bridge they've went, but GokuBot still just biding his time, maybe looking to pick up a couple of those points and add to their tally. NB, though, the major benefactor of this scrap. I think this is really heads up from you to Alliance. I mean, obviously it's suboptimal to lose 2 of your players, but the fact that they just go instantly, right, we've lost 2 players, let's cut our losses, let's get out of there as fast as possible. We know there's going to be a lot of pressure from other teams, and Hale will be the first to strike.
Yeah, Hale third partying this fight. That is the last team on this northeastern side. Meanwhile, on the northwest, on the minimap, Kanina Power, Intense Game, and FaZe have to cross. Enigma Galaxy has set up the bridge camp on the other side.
Real tough going to try and get through on both of these bridges. Teams already through are laughing now. They're going to be pretty happy with it. STE took those boats from Ferry Pier. They got on nice and early. They've diverted their presence from that western bridge, but the east bridge still fraught with danger. At stage 2, you can stay out in the blue and scrap for a little while, but it just makes things that little bit harder, and you know you've got a long dash ahead of you.
Yeah, it's like a losing battle. Even if you win the fight, you're taking so much damage, and then you got more teams to fight on the way in. Biggest thing is you have no info to work with when you're this far away from the zone. See where the circle shifts. It goes hard to the east, and 7th Element could take that giant hilltop. Alien is already up there. Nongshim Red Force close to the new center. They might be able to make another central rotation. You see and hyper close by, more on the southeast of that zone. A great spot. 7th Element picking up the much needed elim points that we were talking about. They get 1. Can they get more here?
The fact that they have that outpost in Alien is their saving grace here. The detriments of taking a bridge camp are kind of assuaged by having that player, having that foothold. The question is, can Alien hold it off? Because Morph are going to look to potentially mount up there if they don't think there's a team in that position. So maybe Alien's just going to scare them off, try and go for that another way. But look at that western side. There is so much going on there.
Man, I see Kanina Power potentially rotating east to try that bridge, while Hale just came from the eastern bridge to try out the western bridge. So it is not looking good for the teams in blue. And yep, they run right into each other. So that just goes to show military base, man. Definitely a difficult spot to get to. But who could get these elim points? Blue zone is taking, looks like Kanina Power is the brunt of the damage.
Oh man, it's so sad that they didn't go for their regular drop spot. Meanwhile, over on the bridge, you can see in the picture-in-picture, Enigma Galaxy looking to hold strong against Intense Game, and it's looking to start off quite well. Can they keep it going? Because Freak's just been knocked in the meantime as Kanina Power are whittled down to 1, only Becca on that coastline. Enigma Galaxy still on the crossfire, a little bit too far forwards, but does have cover there. The trade's going the way of Enigma Galaxy again. And they're finding knock after knock here against Intense Game. So a good start to this scrap.
Trades back and forth. 7th Element holding strong right now. NB Esports down to the 2. Taking a look at the minimap to see what has happened. Nongshim has moved into dead center at the power grid compound, just right below the giant hilltop. Inko have also made it into one of the bunkers that are very close to center, so that's the central teams for now. The bridge camp, so difficult too, because once you fight in a way where, you know, they're not going to get across, they're just not going to peek you. They're just going to sit still and deny the points, which cuts down on your time too. They find an angle on 1, the wide angle from Alien. Alien actually came down from the hilltop, so they really are looking for the elim points. I like this out of 7th Element. They could play passive, go into zone, get another good position, but they realize they really need points, so they're going to go in later after they confirm these points, and they're up to 4 elim points.
No one has taken that observatory position just yet, though. But getting back up there is going to be a lot harder for 7th Element now, with NASA where they currently sit over on the western bridge. Enigma Galaxy disengaged from that hold. Intense Game lost a lot of players, and now FaZe are potentially going to lose 1 or 2 in a scrap across the bridge. The circle shrinks over towards Inko, over towards Nongshim Red Force.
Wow, great opening for Enigma Galaxy there. They ran right into STE, and that was definitely a huge advantage for STE, holding this and looking at their backsides, but they get the opening knock. Will they be able to confirm the point? Oh, this nade should be good out of Lord. Tosses it a little bit wide. Oh, cooked a little bit too much. STE needed need to start moving because Lord's got another nade. If they don't do this fast enough, 33Z needs to find this final finish onto Enigma Galaxy. Actually, Enigma Galaxy has a third member who just revived the first down player. So Enigma Galaxy now being a thorn in the side for STE, and the circle has shifted away from both teams.
And it's Hero again getting caught out for STE. Don't want to see that as a pattern starting to emerge. In the last 2 games it has been, though. Stage 4, the blue zone's still survivable. Enigma Galaxy gonna make the choice to rotate around to the northern side. They've held this one long enough that the health bar on Hero is quite low. It's gonna force a very fast response. I think 628 might be able to stay as 4, which is gonna be a saving grace for them. But they're gonna have to get on soon, and it might be that Enigma Galaxy can get ahead of it.
Yeah, 628 being extremely cautious to go for that revive. They don't know it's only a 3-man team. If that's a 4-man team, going for that revive is definitely a big mistake. Shing gets a knock and an explosion. Now Enigma Galaxy forced to play along the wall sides, down to just Coops. Looking to get that revive. 7th Element, meanwhile, that's a great shift for 7th Element. We didn't really mention it shifted hard to the north, so the teams that were camping on that northeastern side being 7th Element don't have too far of a ways to go.
We talked about this bridge camp early, right? And what we said was that it can potentially lose you players. 7th Element haven't lost any players, which is obviously the best case scenario. We said that it can put you on the edge, which is potentially a disadvantage in a couple of scenarios, but the shift has kind of mitigated that. So the fact that they've been able to successfully have this bridge camp play has been a great result, as you say, for 7th Element. They are looking to control with quite a wide split, it has to be said, on this northern side. They're potentially just scouting for openings, scouting for information, and trying to get further into this one.
And Hyper, 1 player knocked there from a tricky position that they didn't really scout out. Next Ruya with 2 there, both being snakes. And Hyper need to be careful too, because 7th Element is very close by. If they engage in this fight and take another knock right here, 7th Element might chime in, and they are right now getting shot in the back. Or that could even be FaZe looking at that mini-map right there. Koi goes down as well, and Hyper getting cut down 1 by 1. A great nade out of Chiffon, but Koi's already finished, and Hyper down to 3.
I think those shots might have been coming from the rest of... from the last player of Next Ruya. I'm not entirely sure where those shots were coming from, but either way, it's going to work out for a little bit, but not for long, as the nades, as you say, open up the bidding. And Hyper moving across now, losing Koi. GK first down as well. Not a great situation for them. A lot of these teams on the northwestern side have been shredded, including Enigma Galaxy as well. It was Duxan who crossed that western bridge very early, who were able to get through, who have survived in a decent position, keeping all 4 of their players alive and moving across this airstrip.
Enigma Galaxy down to just 1 player now. He is still on that wall side. Next circle shift goes away from Enigma Galaxy, not getting any circle luck today. We'll see how the rest of this match plays out. But 7th Element with 4 controlling the whole northeastern side. This could be a huge game for 7th Element.
This position, though, for NASA is really, really strong for the time being. It's on that plateau that sits just underneath the radio tower, the observatory up top. So they will be looking to try and take control of that, I'm sure. And I don't think it's going to be that easy for 7th Element to make their way up. Alian getting knocked as well. Really, really difficult. They'll need to go on a rescue mission if they want to keep him up. But with only 10 seconds before the close, do they have time?
Yeah, blue zone closing. Alian not in zone. I think they will have to just give up on Alian. Alian was in such a pivotal position. Getting knocked there is a huge mistake and gets confirmed as well there. So no questions asked. Alian is out. 7th Element looking to be in a great position with 4, now down to 3, changes things quite dynamically. FaZe made it through from the western bridge. FaZe was the last team across the western bridge, and they are still here with 2. I don't know how much further they could get. That position a little bit exposed, but that's the best they got.
Alian finally getting flushed out there. Divine trying to hold up the top of the mountain for as long as possible. But will have to regroup eventually, pushed out by the blue zone. Now, this is the difficult situation, right? For 7th Element, they're going to have to move past NASA one way or another. Their western flank is actually probably safer. They might actually look to try and wrap around, potentially third party on a scrap that FaZe might want to take, that Morph might want to take. But with STE starting to flow around this eastern side, there's a lot of pressure coming from the south.
Morph will decide to back down and just go right into the low ground here. just playing the next zones. It gives SDE a little bit of breathing space. They got to make sure they don't move too early and get knocked there from the Morph player up top, who's not in the next zone, so he's going to bide his time. SDE from the south with 4, Morph on the east side also with 4. These two teams could come into a big factor depending on the shifts that will be playing out here. One of the Morph players gets knocked out of zone, definitely not going to be revived. Who's going to confirm the point? SDE will be one to confirm the point.
SDE needing to put a good result on to keep up pace with that third place bubble. Right now, they're sat 6 points behind with those 2 eliminations. That's down to 4. And they want to try and add to that with placement points, but there's still 10 teams remaining. A lot of solos and duos still in this lobby from the fights that we've seen on the bridges. On that western side in particular was the most brutal of it all. Duxan yet to make that push.
Domino effect. I'm just wondering, what if Nigma Galaxy never camped that bridge on the west side? It could be a completely different picture right now. Or in this case, only one 4-man team on the west, and that is Duxan, the first team across the western bridge. So not being anywhere close to that bridge keeps them up at 4, which is great for them. But how many points can they get continuing into stage number 6? Morph being pushed off that side. That was a very disastrous decision to back off the fight. Now they're just being put into bad angles, exposed to every single team here. And the circle shifts down to the southwest.
Goes over towards Nongshim Red Force and phases positions. They're on sort of mountainsides here, very terrain-based spots, trying to use the ledges up and down around them to their advantage. The elevations going to be pretty tricky to handle every which way, but Rocky finds 33Z crossing out in the open. Should be looking to flush here as Xing tries to suppress. Actually, an instant response. Can they tag this res? It looks like they're going to go for it, and the smoke is already there.
That is huge. Yeah, that is huge for 33Z. He didn't go and confirm the point. I'm very surprised. I think that one headshot deterred him just a little bit for re-peeking the same spot at the same angle, and that was enough. Just that one shot to the head missed him that 1 point, but more importantly, that one shot to the head saved the 4th player of STE, and they're going to need all 4 because they're going to need to breach into this zone, and it looks like Nongshim Red Force is going to be the team up to the challenge to defend against it.
This is going to be 7th Element's opportunity here to go for a third party because NASA are having to deal with more. Cleon descending first and STE are striking them in the back. Rocky falls down and that's retribution. You knock one of our players in the open, we're going to take one of yours clean off the board. Now 2 players for Morph on the south side. 7th Element have yet to move. They haven't managed to see or spot or scout this is going on, but they look to go into the vehicles as Xenox turns the corner, opened up in a 1-for-1 trade, but that's going to play into the advantage of NASA for the time being. J7 finds the flush. Xenox is down, but Morph are eliminated. STE might look to try and go in as well, but they don't have to with the zone.
Yeah, that's a great zone for them. I know they love third partying, but that's going to be a long distance to cover, and you're crashing into a strong compound, like you said. So they are not going to go for that head-on third party. Instead, they're going to find the lottery of points right here, and it's in the form of Nongshim Red Force trying to be so quiet and sneaky. But STE spotted them out, and easy pickings for them. That is 3 more elim points. Perfectly done out of STE. Should be a full reset back up to 4. We were talking about STE. Cameron in particular, they've been having a ton of good games, but no amazing games yesterday. This could be that amazing game that they need.
I mean, they've been manipulating really, really well. I liked their early rotation from Ferry Pier in the boats to get across the military island. I think one of the very few teams to actually go for a boatation as opposed to getting across those bridges. It's obviously paid off well for them. They took on Nigma Galaxy. Now they've taken on plenty of other teams on this other side. And it's Sunan's turn to get knocked. Wait to get res. They've had 33Z get knocked out in the open, as well as Hero earlier on in their scrap with Nigma Galaxy, but they've managed to keep all 4 players alive. They're keeping it together.
Yeah, when STE are playing correctly and not making any mistakes and winning their fights, they look so in form, so in control. Sure, they're getting knocked here and there, but the responses are instant, the revives are quick, the positioning is great. Let's see how much further they could get into this matchup, because Duxan on the west side still have 4, and if the circle shifts west, STE is going to have to cover a lot of open ground. So we'll see where the zone goes right now, and it does shift right on top of them. FaZe also getting a nice circle right there. 7th Element, Nasser, Nigma Galaxy, all the other teams need to make a move on.
I think in my mind, Seventh Element dropped the ball a little bit when they didn't third party on towards the NASA engagement in the compound. And now maybe they're going to suffer for it. It's going to come back through. Inko, in the meantime, nades right up and into the sky. You need to cook those carefully if you want to find them landing on the top, because they can just fall straight back on down. You can see them bouncing kind of chaotically there from Becker. Vitali, with a better angle, gets a lot of damage onto Zipyan, but doesn't quite find the knock.
Duxon should just go aggressive here. They've been here for a while, so they should be able to tell from the audio cues it is not a four-man team. They hear one running around. There's like at most 2 arms of util heading towards them, right? They need to just take this fight, finish it out, overwhelm them with numbers, and then move in. But Duxon will forgo that option. Now they're going to have to worry about their backs because Inko's just going to try and backstab them as they move in.
STE are worried about NASA in that compound as well, but finally Inko breakout. Vitali going to move up with the DBS in hand, wants to play these close angles, but Duxan's super passive. You try and break out, they've already lost one. They go back over to these vehicles. It looks like they want to disengage, but they're going to get opened up on by FaZe, by STE. It's going to be such a hard progression. 33Z has been handling this position almost solo for STE this whole time now. 2 players for NASA, down and a third as well on the cards for 33Z as Star steps up and gets pushed back almost immediately. And that will be the end of NASA. Seventh Element might be able to push around because of it.
Yeah, I did catch that. GokuBot actually did manage to catch one of the Nasser players, so it was a combined effort out of both STE and 7th Element. These circles still closing. Every other team pretty much in. 7th Element may lose a couple more players. Those players on the north not in the zone. Duxon, yeah, taking too much time. They had 4 players. They could have used those numbers to get some confirmation points and then bulldoze their way in. But they've just been getting whittled down, not making use of their 4 players, and pretty much free points for the superior positioning out of STE. STE with 14 eliminations, very easily gonna get more here.
Certainly going to be looking for the shots over towards Divine, who's already been knocked, but FaZe is going to want to pinch that one away. Sunan has other ideas, though, as Mormon might go down to that nade. Looks like it might have just been a little bit too long, though, there. Not quite long enough on the cook. Ching steps up. Divine flushed out. That's a 15th elimination on the cards. T24 OP with the MG3 out in the open. Might have a shot over towards Sing, who's very low, slips down the hill as well, needs to dash for cover here, and actually gets caught. T24 OP able to capitalize on this position. 7th Element still need to push in, but Mormon's there, and he takes the flush.
A deadly slip up right there. STE still have the number advantage, the positional advantage, and everything, but with 4, it's a guaranteed win. With 3, could get a little dicey here. Sunan, great knock right there. If Sunan also fell, that would have been terrible. Sunan gets the knock. Should go for the confirmation. Yeah, because Mormon could get stolen away from the 7th Element player. GokuBot out on his own, gets caught. There's still one more FaZe player that they need to worry about. Monza, close by. Looks like he just got taken out, and it's a 3v1. T24 OP, last one up, out in the blue. Behind the tree, gets a knock.
That's the
but
power
there's no
of the
way
MG3.
he can win this one.
That's what you got with the LMG. He's going to go for the shots, but he's out of the zone. I mean, it was all done and dusted. He made it exciting, sure, but it was always going to go this way right up into the end. STE racking up a really strong performance. With the points that they get from this match as well, they're looking good to try and catch up 2 teams like Nongshim Red Force right at the top as well. They were sat 31 points behind at the start of this match. Hopefully they put a dent in it here with that performance, getting a lot of points on board, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in 2nd place now.
Yeah, STE carved a warpath from the west side, starting with the botation, landing on military base on the south, clearing their way out to the east, and then fighting their way in and just dominating all of the teams. But you could see how much pressure they put out constantly. They had their backs pretty much touching the blue the whole way through, taking shots at every person they can make before heading into the zone. And that is just the STE playstyle. They want to take those fights. They have the gun skill, and man, this game really showcased that.
They absolutely played it masterfully right up into the end. I think, yeah, that one misstep for slipping down the mountain at the end there was maybe their only big glaring mistake in that match. So I'm really happy with them. I agree wholeheartedly with you. And you can see it's a fairly even split in terms of the performance of every single one of these players. They all played their part.
Yeah, that is a beautiful distribution of just damage. It just goes to show there is no weak points. All 4 players, like, it has to be this way. If you're going to be the team that's third-partying everything, the most aggressive team in this lobby, I would say, you need all 4 players with massive gun skills and the team synergy to boot, and that is exactly what they did here. Look at the distance traveled. They also had to move the most, so they weren't getting, you know, zone blessed or playing the rotation and sit in one spot. They fought everyone they could, and they won every fight.
They made some heads-up rotations. They started down in Primorsk. They got the boats over to that military island. They played on that south side. They dealt with Enigma Galaxy on the south edge as well. They controlled the mountainside from there on out, forcing everyone into their sightlines. And in the end,